I'm Yuri.
I'm Jacob.
And we're going for a drive. (2018) Honda HR-V EXL.
2018 Toyota CHR XLE Premium.
So we're in crossovers.
Yes, we are in subcompact crossovers because everybody loves buying these for some reason.
All right, which one's faster?
Does it matter?
No, it doesn't, because they're both the slowest.
Yeah, they're both so slow.
I think this is legally as slow as you can possibly make a car.
This is the slowest car I remember driving in the last many years.
All right, horsepower and torque.
I'm not even gonna give you the torque because it doesn't even matter. 144 horsepower for the Toyota CHR and 141 horsepower for the Honda HR-V because the letters are very confusing.
Yeah, I still don't really know which letters are for which one because they're too similar, so I'm just gonna call it the Toyota one and the Honda one. So we're here to find out which one's better. Personally, I think the Toyota looks better.
I think the Toyota looks better, but I think the Honda overall is probably the better car out of these two.
All right, and since we're not too excited about either model, let's go checklist mode and hit it by the stats.
This is gonna be as objective as possible. No opinions necessary.
Yeah, a little bit opinions.
Yeah, we're gonna give you some opinions.
Before we get to our checklist, I wanna ask you what the favorite part about each car is.
You seriously wanna know my favorite part of this Toyota right now?
Yeah, I'll start off with telling you mine. The Toyota, my favorite part is that pattern on the inside of the door.
You stole my line. That's my favorite part of this car.
Okay, so we have the same favorite part of that car. And my favorite part of this Honda is this little wallet holder on the side.
My favorite part of the Honda is the box test. 12. But wait. Check this out. Pretty cool, but doesn't actually fit more boxes.
9. I'm impressed. You're actually that stoked about the box test in this Honda?
Yeah, it was really impressive.
You realize I have a Honda Element.
Yeah, I don't care. That's the most exciting part of that car to me. If that tells you anything about how exciting that car is to me.
But just because we're not excited doesn't mean other people aren't excited. Jacob's wife is ecstatic over these two cars.
When I brought this home, she was the most excited out of any car I've ever brought home. And I've brought some pretty nice cars home.
Yeah, so just because we don't get it doesn't mean somebody else doesn't like it.
This car was built for millennials.
I think it's built for people who want a slightly taller ride height, but kind of want a regular car.
But they also want some style.
Yeah, well, this one doesn't have any style.
No, not really. The Toyota has all the style on the outside.
Yes, okay, so if we're gonna start our checklist right now, looks-wise, I think we can both agree the Toyota wins.
Yes, the Toyota wins on looks, so 1 point for the Toyota.
And box test-wise, the Honda wins. The next thing we need to talk about is the drivetrain. I've got an all-wheel drive drivetrain in the Honda, and you have front-wheel drive in the Toyota.
I should also mention that both of these are the top models that you can get from both of these companies. So Toyota does not offer all-wheel drive on their CHR, so this is front-wheel drive only.
Honda wins.
Honda wins.
By speed, they both get a tie because they're equally slow.
Transmissions, they both have CVTs, they both lose.
So that's another tie.
The Toyota has a slightly better CVT. It's slightly less rubber bandy than the HR-V.
The Honda has paddles and a sport mode, but it does nothing, so that does not get any points either.
The Honda just screams when you use the paddles all the time, so the paddles are completely useless.
Let's both floor it and we'll see how loud these cars are. Don't say anything. We need the audio. 3, 2. By the way, I'm not giving check marks for ties. A tie is just nothing. Now that we're at a light, wheel-wise, I think the Toyota obviously wins.
Toyota wins for sure.
While we're at the light, we can also compare rear door handles.
So I think the better one is the Honda one.
I think the cooler looking one is the Toyota one.
Okay, so points for nobody.
Okay, so they're both tied.
You know who gets the points on that one? The Mazda CX-3 for having a completely normal door handle.
Oh, don't remind me about the CX-3.
Next thing, braking. I hate the brake feel on the Toyota. The Honda wins for sure for me for brake feel.
I didn't really notice much difference when it came to brake feel.
Trust me.
You know what I did notice a difference was steering feel, and I think the steering in the Toyota is much nicer. It's a lot easier to drive.
I completely agree with you. The Toyota wins on steering feel. Even though they both have no steering feel, this one just steers a little bit better.
The next thing I'd like to compare is spoilers. Who has the cooler spoiler?
The Toyota wins for sure. Let's go infotainment. Which one is better?
Can I tie them at like equally not the best? No rewinding satellite radio in the Honda, but it has satellite radio, but it has no volume knob.
The Toyota doesn't even have satellite radio, not even an option.
It has a volume knob, but it doesn't have a tuning knob. It has a tuning button, but the tuning button sucks. If you try to click up to get through radio stations, it takes forever. How hard is it to change radio stations?
It's terrible in the Toyota, like absolutely terrible. I don't even want to listen to the radio in this car because the speakers are also terrible in this car, just like they are in the Honda.
Dude, they're so bad in the Honda. I cranked it and it was like the first time I've been in a new car with speakers that like just suck.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Speaking of speakers and infotainments, in the vehicle settings, in the Toyota, you know what they are? You get to pick which car this infotainment was placed into.
That is the funniest thing I've ever seen put into a modern car. Like the funniest thing ever. That's the lowest budget thing I've ever seen.
I think it's hilarious, but it makes sense, like cost saving, whatever, but like...
Because this car was engineered around the same time that Scion was still around, and this was meant to be a Scion model, just like the IM and the FRS, which carried over into Toyotas. So the cheapness is here because of that.
So nobody wins for infotainment.
No, and something else I forgot about the infotainment in the Honda. What's with the Space Galaxy theme? I thought it was just dust on the screen for no reason.
It's not the worst. Now for the most important comparison of them all, the visor test.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. No!
Honda passes.
Toyota complete fail. Nothing, not even an extension, nothing.
I don't think Honda has ever failed a visor test.
I think you're right.
But I will admit, this visor doesn't go all the way back, and I did get sun in my eyes while sitting in the passenger seat. Both these cars have a gauge that tells you how economically you're driving. The Honda's got a green ring that turns white when you drive non-economically. The Toyota's got a little green leaf you can set up in the middle that fades away. I think it's easier to see the green on the Honda, so I'm gonna give the Honda the win for that.
Do you have a sunroof?
I do have a sunroof.
I do not.
Oh, one more for Honda.
Do you have lane keep assist?
I have passive lane keep assist, so it won't steer me out of the lanes, but it'll yell at me.
The Toyota actually has active lane keep assist. It doesn't work very well, but it's there, so point Toyota.
Just so you know, we're at 5.5.
Do you have adaptive cruise in the Honda?
No.
I have adaptive cruise in the Toyota, and it works very well.
To be honest, I think these cars are pretty much exactly a tie, and it's really up to preference. Shall we switch and get more in depth on our preferences?
Yeah, all right, let's do that.
But you know what I'm also kind of upset about is that one doesn't have the white roof and the colored body.
Yeah, that's an option. It's like $500-600.
All right, let's switch for real now. Now that I'm back in the Toyota, I know why I like this one more.
Oh, I'm so happy to be back in the Honda.
Perfect. So first thing with the Toyota, I have lumbar and you do not in the Honda.
No, it's not adjustable and it's not very comfortable at all, but the seats are more comfortable other than the lumbar.
And I disagree.
But at least you can get leather in the Honda. You can't even get it in the Toyota.
Next thing, auto up windows. I have all 4 auto up windows. What do you have in the Honda, Jacob?
The Honda only has one auto up, the driver's side.
All right, next thing. We've got hard buttons for all the climate in the Toyota. I like that so much.
I miss that so much in the Honda. I wish I had hard buttons. It's ridiculous using this touch stuff for everything.
And I'd just like to let you guys know, we've scrapped the list. It's too tricky to keep track, but we're still gonna keep comparing. It's kind of weird that the Honda's got more room even though it's got all-wheel drive, eh?
It is kind of weird. But my favorite part is those seats that fold up in the back. That's the coolest part. Oh, and that rear privacy cover on the Honda, so cool.
What both of these cars have that I think is very cool is deep dish cup holders.
Oh yeah, like by far the deepest cup holders for big gulps ever.
Flower vases, what else can we put in there?
Like tacos, lots of tacos.
Next thing, the shifter in the shifter area I think is much better in the Toyota.
I disagree, I really like the Honda one, but I like the shininess and the slickness of the Toyota shifter itself. Rub your hand on it.
It's very nice.
It's very slick, isn't it?
It's luxurious. You have some really ugly halogen light bulbs.
Yes, I do. In the Honda, the Toyota does not. Toyota's got some LEDs and they look all right.
And the taillights, the way they stick out is so cool.
But did you notice that they kind of look like Honda Civic taillights?
No, I did not notice that.
Oh, Yuri, you remember you bringing up lobster claws in all the Honda reviews?
But these are more FJ protruding taillights, so I'm gonna give it an FJ comparison.
True, from that angle, but if you look at them from the back, they're very lobster claw Honda taillights.
How are your A-pillars in the Honda? My A-pillars are fantastic in the Toyota, and I've got a nice little window that lets me see everything.
The visibility in the Honda is so much better than the Toyota. I can see everything, there's no blind spots. How my C-pillar is amazing too. How's your C-pillar in the Toyota?
C-pillar? Why would you look back to C-pillar? That's not where you check your blind spots. You check right at your B-pillar.
How about when you're parking your car?
I have a reverse camera, which is surprisingly enough located on my rear view mirror.
And it's the worst reverse camera ever. That's welcome to 2005.
It's a really weird reverse camera. I don't even understand why they put it up there. At first I thought this car didn't have a reverse camera, and Jacob's like, oh, it's up there, bud.
Yeah, and the Honda actually has it in the infotainment. But back to Toyota, those C-pillars are absolutely brutal. Parking that car and driving it is so claustrophobic for me.
You know how I maybe don't have the perfect driving position, like when I was driving the Golf R and complaining about the steering column?
Yes.
I think you have an issue with the way that you look when you park cars, and that's why you have an issue with these C-pillars.
I don't think so. I think I drive perfectly.
I don't think you park perfectly.
I think I park way better than you.
Parking contest coming up. Your front bumper looks like a fat kid with chubby cheeks.
All right.
But you've got fog lights, and I don't.
Yeah, the Toyota can get dealer installed fog lights, but not from the factory.
I feel like my Toyota looks like Megabyte from Reboot.
It's very futuristic. It definitely looks way cooler than the Honda, but I'm way more comfortable in the Honda.
And I'm way more comfortable in Toyota. Weird. Do you like the gauges in your Honda more than you like the gauges in the Toyota?
Yes, they're way more visible. They're a lot more clear in the Honda.
Personally, I really like having the RPMs on the left, speedometer on the right, and then a little digital thing in the middle where you can go through settings just like the Kia, Hyundai, and Genesis has.
We also both have heated seats.
I have 3 levels of heated seats. How many levels of heated seats do you have in the Honda?
I have 2 levels and it's all by touch. So here we go, rant time. All of my climate, again, is all touch and it's ridiculous. I keep touching it by accident with everything other than my hand. I'm using my clothes by accident. I'm like rubbing against it. Anything that touches that changes the climate, and it's the most frustrating thing in the world.
I would like to add that the Honda Climate isn't built into the infotainment like it is on the Civic. It's got its own dedicated section, so even though it's touch, it's much better than the Civic.
Yes, but the position of it, for some reason I keep hitting it here, but I'm glad it's not buried in the infotainment menus because the infotainment in here is really slow.
Yeah, it's not the best, but back to the Climate, we both have auto climate. What's the thing I hated most about auto climate?
Loud fan speed.
But if you've got loud fan speed on your Honda and you click the voice control buttons, it turns down the fan speed.
That's pretty hilarious and good for Honda for doing that.
Volume and tuning controls on the steering wheel, which one do you like more?
The Hondas are way better on the steering wheel specifically.
You think that's better than this one? This one's so much easier. You have to extend your thumb so much farther on the Honda.
No, I don't. It's perfect in the Honda.
I'm gonna measure these with a ruler and that will be the deciding factor.
Does your steering wheel have a random cheese grater mesh in it?
No, it doesn't.
Well, the Honda does. I don't know why.
Well, this has piano black on the steering wheel, right where the fingerprints go.
Just like the Honda as well. Back to the infotainment for a second. Do you have Android Auto?
No, Toyota doesn't like that.
Do you have Apple CarPlay?
No, Toyota doesn't like that either.
The Honda does not either for some reason, but every other Honda we've driven has it. So I don't know what's going on here.
That's funny. And these aren't like the least expensive cars either.
No, they're reasonably priced, but they're not the cheapest. Are you enjoying looking over the dash of that valley of dust in front of you?
It's not that bad.
The only thing that's going to collect is dust. It's going to be the most annoying thing to clean. The Honda's layout is way better on the dash.
So if you're really into cleaning dust off your car...
Yeah, I like to clean my cars, unlike Yuri.
Yeah, I don't really clean my cars. I don't really get them detailed.
Handling-wise, I think they're both exactly the same. Maybe the Toyota's a little better, but they're pretty much identical. However, I think the CX-3 destroys both of these in handling, but no one cares about handling in this class.
Comfort?
Yes! People care about comfort in this class, and these are both very comfortable cars. The only complaint I had about the Mazda CX-3 was that it was too stiff. These ones both solve that.
If you needed to get a car that would do everything that these two cars would do, which vehicle would you get?
Oh, I would buy a Honda Civic, like that.
And you'd probably save money too, right?
Yes, I would.
So why should you get this over a Honda Civic?
Well, this has all-wheel drive. That's it. And this one fits one more box than the Honda Civic.
But if you like the look, you like to sit a little taller, and like the driving experience isn't that much to you, there's no reason to not get these cars, right?
I guess. But between these, if I had to pick one of them that I would buy, but I still wouldn't buy either of them, but the one that I would recommend is the Honda because it has all-wheel drive and it's just more comfortable and I like the leather seats.
And if you haven't guessed by now, I picked the Toyota because it's got a volume knob, it's got buttons for the temperature, it looks way, 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 way cooler, and it's got a better steering feel.
Well, obviously the Toyota's cheaper because it doesn't have all-wheel drive, it doesn't have leather, but it is the top trim, and it's just over $28,000. The Honda is just over $32,000. I would still gladly pick the Honda over the Toyota.
You know what? I'd probably pick between these two. Kia Soul Turbo.
Yeah, probably.
Can you argue that or not really?
I can't argue against that. I think it's really ugly, and I think the Toyota looks better, and I think the Honda even looks better, but the better buy is obviously the Kia.
Wait, you think the Honda looks better than the Kia Soul Turbo?
Yes, the Kia Soul is relatively hideous.
Okay, well, you're obviously not a fan of the box car, so.
So tell us which one you guys would pick, and don't forget to subscribe.
Don't forget the notification bell.
And don't forget to patreon.com/TheStraightPipes.
Bow, 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 bow.